Alright guys, TacticalRab again today. Hope you're doing well and enjoying your day so far. In some Black Ops Cold War channels over the last couple of days, Dashy has come down hard on some of his opponents, especially including Arcitys for some of the gameplay he was seeing on the other side of the server. There's been lots of criticism of Arcitys over the last few months and really this entire season, the way he handled the situation on Los Angeles Guerrillas, and now he's getting a spot, we believe, on the Seattle Surge. Is Dashy right to say what he said? Pretty spicy words. Very much interested to your thoughts in the comments below. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always, I would greatly appreciate it. Firstly, we're going to dive into this roster because Karma actually had some thoughts on this. This is the team. Arcitys, iLLeY, Hook and aBeZy. Hasn't been confirmed yet. We don't really know, at least as of recording, how many of these players have been signed. aBeZy has almost certainly been signed because I'm pretty sure they bought him out of the contract with the Awowobs as we discussed earlier today. This team doesn't make that much sense on paper. I mean, look, it makes sense in terms of the history some of these players have. iLLeY and Arcitys have wanted to play together for some time. iLLeY and Hook, of course, they've been a successful duo on various teams. And aBeZy, really promising best challenger player of the most recent season. But prefers an AR. So what are you going to do? Is Arcitys going to be the main? Is aBeZy going to be the flex? Is iLLeY going to be the flex? Is aBeZy going to be the sub? Is iLLeY going to be the sub? Apparently, aBeZy's going to be on the SMG, which I'm not sure I like it, but whatever. If he really is a godlike talent, then maybe there's some potential here in this team. And this is what Karma gets to, and he says, look, people are clowning this team, and I think people are criticizing this team for good reason, because all the other rosters we've seen, at least on paper, the roles make sense. And usually when the roles don't make that much sense, there is a high percentage chance the team fails and doesn't work. Maybe this team will work, and Karma does say that, look, they do have the pieces, and they have performed at very high levels previously. If they can get the best out of each other, and aBeZy is a real superstar talent, especially on the SMG, if that's what he's going to be using, then it still could potentially work.
Arcitys, iLLeY, Hook, aBeZy. I mean, I don't know if you can necessarily say that's going to be a bad team, bro. I think it's a weird team. I think honestly the weirdest thing is probably aBeZy going to that squad. They could be yeah, they could be like a dark horse. They could like low-key be gross. Especially if that dude's gross. If Ender plays like how he can play, Rambo is a GM. What is GM? What does he do? Is Ray like the coach? I mean, dude, Ray has had success with them, you know, so I think a lot of it rides on like Ender being healthy. I don't know. I also think a lot of it rides on like Alex's mental state, to be honest. I don't know. He seems like he was kind of all over the place last year. Whether that was because of the team or all the shit that was happening with LAG. Who knows? Maybe they just need a new home.
So interesting to hear for Karma, really, because when I heard, like, alright, Karma's reacted to the Surge roster, I thought he was going to cloud on it pretty hard, because, you know, we know even the most recent season, Karma didn't always have the kindest words to say for Hook. You know, he criticised Hook pretty heavily for some of the plays that he made during the most recent season when he was on OpTic, but now Karma seems not exactly high on the new Surge roster, but at least believes there's some potential there. And to be fair, maybe you've got to give some credence to the idea that Rambo, Hook and iLLeY should be able to make something work. This was the Cold War Dallas Empire team, but pretty similar to the previous year's one. There's just no Clayster in this image, and this is shortly after they'd won champs. Fellow had come in. It's a funny image really looking back on this stuff, but Rambo, Hook and iLLeY, they've had good success in this season, in the season prior, and look, they came together under the OpTic umbrella kind of again, even though by the time that Hook came in, Rambo wasn't really too much part of the team anymore after the Dashy stuff. So, you know, you'd think that maybe with Dashy not being alongside the guys on Surge anymore, Rambo, you know, Hook and iLLeY can work together the way they previously did. Maybe they can get some serious success going in again. Do they have the players surrounding them they used to? Maybe not. And that, I guess, will be the big question going forward into next season. This I thought was kind of funny going around as well. Here's some of the tech pauses they've seen in the Valorant side. And as the team says, me during HyDra's tech pause. I don't know what it is about HyDra, but you guys probably know this if you watched the last couple of seasons. There's always some issue with HyDra's controller or his PC or something. I don't know what it is, but yes, Clay says, this guy has the most tech problems out of everyone I know. So I don't really know what it is, but this seems to happen all the time. When New York were playing, there was always some sort of issue, and Dashy was actually playing with Paco, HyDra in some Radiant ranked because both of them are particularly good at Valorant. But Dashy's also particularly good at Call of Duty, and they're playing Cold War, because over the last few days, that's been the move, to go from Black Ops 3 throwback chals to go generally to Black Ops Cold War throwback chals, and that's what people have been playing generally, and we have seen a lot of the throwback tournaments start to move over that way as well. I don't exactly know what the status is as of recording with Zuma's throwback chal. Maybe there'll be something, or throwback tournament. There's meant to be a Cold War tournament that Zuma was doing. I don't know if they've got the funding for it or what the plan is there, because there's some others that have been going around. But Drazah has been, as he does, grinding out these chals. 8-0 on the day as of yesterday, up 1.5k in some of these chals. And then he says, killed Black Ops 3, now I've killed Cold War. So I guess he means that I've just won all the chals and I've just beaten everyone, so everyone's stopped playing the game anymore. So maybe he's gonna, you know, maybe it's back to Vanguard next or something, which hopefully isn't the case, but still. So obviously Drazah was playing these chals over the last few days, as was Dashy as well. And, well, a few very nice clips here from Dashy going around. There was also this screenshot, so they were playing some hardpoint as well, so we can see this team here of Dashy, Drazah, JurNii, and Prolute. Be interesting to see what happened to these guys, because, you know, Prolute was on a team during the Vanguard season, and he, well, obviously he was on OpTic briefly, and then he got onto Vegas at the start of the most recent year. Don't know where he's going to go. JurNii was also on Paris Legion at the end of the Vanguard season. And, you know, JurNii, Jimbo, right? I mean, let's not forget about that crazy team they had at the end of that season. But still, he's looking for opportunities. And on the other side, we had Scrap here, who, maybe this was glitch or something, or someone rage quit, I don't know, and Scrap was spectating. Capsidal, TJ, and Arcitys. But Dashy had 7,000 score. I mean, the score was always kind of funny in Cold War, because the more, like, the higher kill streak you went on, the more and more score you got. So if you wanted a mega kill streak, your score would go insane. But yeah, 6,000 damage, 51 limbs, not a bad map here from Dashy, and he was doing it as well in the search and destroy chals. And I mean, Prolute just got absolutely destroyed there. I mean, Dashy with the Krig was unreal, and this shot that he hits on Arcitys here in a second to get him out of top red, top art, whatever you want to call it, is pretty outrageous. And yeah, he has some words to say for Arcitys as a result.
He's gonna be.
I go plan that.
Let's go, was it? Hey. On it.
And take it, bro. Just child through.
Oh, it doesn't make that.
Yeah, come back.
I got 20 now, I got 20 in the back over.
I'm gonna kill Streaks.
He's on right, correct. Outer dead. One Dashy back.
Rifle Streaks.
Rest in teach.
Time.
Two art.
I'm dead.
Dead. Yellow tar already.
Yellow tar dead. Oh, one shot.
Yellow tray, top yellow tray and
How many do?
Yeah, both. One more at old. One more at old. In the. God, I actually slammed Alex, dude.
I know.
Get dope off this at least.
Holy fuck.
That guy's dog shit, dude. That guy's ass.
So this time they're playing against a team of Yeez, Prolute, Arcitys, and Drazah, and it's difficult to really explain exactly how difficult these shots are from Dashy, because the first gunfight, sure, but when you jump like this, it really throws off your aim, and to be able to recenter like that and kill Arcitys was, yeah, that was pretty special. Kind of reminded me a little bit of the play that, you guys remember Cammy's 4-piece that he had on this map, where, wasn't it on Arcitys as well? Wasn't it against FaZe that Cammy had that 4-piece on this map, basically in this situation with the Krig? I'm guessing it must have been the Krig, and just beamed everyone one after the other. So yeah, look, no doubt very nice shots of Dashy, but as he says, this guy is terrible. And this is the question that you always have, and I mentioned it with Mohawk the other day. Players that have done great things in the past, and Mohawk, you know, won 2 Challengers World Championships, but some teams will look at him and think, well, is he as good as he was 2 years ago? Yes, he might well have been CDL caliber 2 years ago. Is he as good now? I don't know, it's tough to say. Eventually, players will decline, and, you know, realistically, you'd think they wouldn't, because they're only in their early 20s, generally. But in like, let's say Rocket League, for example, a lot of the kids in Rocket League, to my understanding, are like 15, 16, and by the time they get to like 20, 21, they're basically washed. It seems that way a lot of the time in games nowadays. So, yeah, I mean, you can talk all you want about why players regress and why they're not as good anymore, and, like, whether, because Scump doesn't, I don't think Scump's lost it. If he came back into the Pro League, would he be a top 2 player? Would he be a top 1 player? Probably not. Would he be top 10? I think probably definitely yes. Same thing with Octane. I mean, he retired at kind of peak performance levels. But some players do regress. I mean, Crim6 was still an absolute winner, no doubt. But was he as good individually in his last couple of years as he was earlier on? No. Even with Clayster today, I think you can say the same thing. So there's always an element of it. But a lot of the times, are these players still good enough and deserving of being in the league? I think for sure, yes. Maybe they weren't as good as they previously were. And this is the question with Arcitys in a way, that when he was on FaZe, I mean, he didn't have to do that much on FaZe, but he was very good at Cold War, there's no doubt. But over the last couple of seasons, the Vanguard year, he struggled pretty hard on FaZe, and then they dropped him, and most recently on Los Angeles Guerrillas, he was not their best AR, right? I mean, let's be honest. I think Assault was more impressive over the season than Arcitys was. And there was the talk recently from Joe to Thieves, you know, these guys belong in jail, all this stuff, like probably implying that Arcitys was, well, that the guys weren't particularly happy with the way that Arcitys conducted himself during the season. That's the word on the street at the very least. But Arcitys, he's a two-time world champion, Black Ops 4 and Cold War. He's going to get a spot over the likes of Assault. That's what we're seeing here. He's got the connections. Is it deserved? I mean, sure, that's how life works. But I guess the question would be, is he as good as he was a few years ago? Or especially, is he, you know, good enough to be what that team needs him to be? Because, you know, let's be honest, we've talked about this with other players that have gone to FaZe. You don't need to drop great numbers when you're on FaZe. But when you're not on FaZe, you kind of do. If you don't have the talent around you, you do need to step back into that more slaying role. Same thing with Ghosty. When he's in challenges, sure, he has to drop 1.2s, 1.3s on the AR if he wants to win. When he's joining OpTic, that's not the case anymore, right? So this is the thing. Can Arcitys step back into that slaying role? Because, you know, if Illy is his AR combo, Illy's not going to be dropping 1.2, so Arcitys is going to need to do some good slaying. And maybe Dashy reckons that he hasn't quite got what it takes anymore. But enter into your thoughts in the comments below. Speaking of this, right, because Arcitys has been on the Huntsman, which is kind of OpTic as well, and is included in this list that Breaker Boy put together, and he's been on Atlanta FaZe. This is the OpTic versus FaZe all-time head-to-head in Call of Duty history. Pro Tournament, OpTic are nearing 100, FaZe are at 83, average placings, LAN series win-loss, finals appearances, tournament wins, head-to-head is 29-22 in OpTic's favour. Finals head-to-head, though, is 6-4 to FaZe, and COD Champs head-to-head is actually 3-1 for FaZe. So OpTic have only actually beaten FaZe at COD Champs 1 time out of 4 attempts, which is pretty interesting given their head-to-head elsewhere is different. A lot of this finals head-to-head really comes down to, well, it doesn't necessarily, but a lot of it is like the Advanced Warfare season. The Advanced Warfare season was really interesting because FaZe at the ends got really good, actually, with that team of Clay, Attach, Zoomer, and Enable, and they were able to beat OpTic in a couple of finals in a row. OpTic, I think, then got them back, but not in the finals. At the final event of the season, FaZe came like top 8 or something, and OpTic won the MLG World Finals to close out that season. But it is interesting that OpTic's finals record against FaZe isn't actually that good, despite the fact that it's FaZe's finals record over the last couple of years that's really caused the controversy, because they just can't seem to win a finals at this point. But very much interested in your thoughts in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new, take care, and I'll see you next time.